What's up, game developers? Today we are going to talk about monobehaviors in Unity. But we will talk about something special. And that something will toggle a switch into your head and you will never look at monobehaviors the same way ever again. Let's say that you took the jump and started to work on your game. You wrote some code and all seems to work fine. However, chances are that you fell into the trap of putting too much into one single class. You know, some player controller or game manager with some 1,000 lines of code. Standard rookie stuff. I was guilty of that too. And this can cause big problems. It becomes difficult to add features, yet alone to fix bugs. And it can lead to disasters like abandoning your project. So we are going to look at one way to help you out and solve this problem and make you a better game developer. But before we dive into the meat of the topic, I would like to take a minute to talk about about this channel. As you know, YouTubers tune their content to their audience, find out what works and do more of that. And this process is maybe 70% data-driven and 30% guesswork, roughly. And I am now in possession of some data and analytics. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's still data and it's still interesting insights. Not only that, the data actually confirms what I observed on other channels. The two main types of content that works are super beginner stuff, think breakies, or super entertaining stuff, think Danny. And both my beginner tutorial and my other funny short, they both performed much better than all the rest combined. So from now on, I'm going to focus even more on beginner stuff and help you crawl out of the beginner status or tutorial hell. It does not mean I will abandon devlogs, I will still be doing those. Alright, back to monobehaviors. In programming, we have what is called design patterns. A design pattern is basically a solution to a common problem. Let me directly give you an example. Let's say you need a central place to manage your high score. Maybe you should use a singleton pattern. Or you made a complex inventory system that supports many types of items, but you need a way to interact with it. Maybe the facade pattern is useful. Or you want to create a boss fight where the boss can have many states or stages. Then the state pattern might be a great start. There are many design patterns and each have their pros and cons. Now, here's the big reveal. You ready? Monobehaviors that you put on your game objects are already part of a design pattern. Let's check what the Unity documentation says. Monobehavior is a base class from which every Unity script derives. Okay, it inherits from behavior. Behaviors are components that can be enabled or disabled. So behavior inherits from component, which is the base class for everything attached to game objects. Now, the composite or component design pattern is there to compose objects into a tree and then work with these structures as it would be one single object. And look what we have in Unity. There is a root game object, there is a hierarchy, we can attach components to game objects. That pretty much fits the pattern, doesn't it? But what does it mean for you? It probably means that you are not using enough monobehaviors. What? Look at this. Or this. The idea behind that pattern is to have small components that allow you to, wait for it, compose your behavior that you are looking for. Once you understand this concept, you will have an easier time programming characters, for example, where you have deep hierarchies and need to add behaviors on arms and legs and feet and so on. A game is a complex system, and if you manage to take that big system and cut it into smaller subsystems, you will make your life much easier. Each component is easy to understand because they are small, there is less code, and ideally they just have one responsibility. Not only you will enjoy cleaner code, you will actually start to see that you can reuse your components all over the place or even in other projects. Now, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. Having lots of components will give you interesting new challenges, so to say. Components sometimes need to talk to each other. What you certainly want to avoid is breaking your pattern and having every component depend on each other. That would be very counterproductive. To solve that, you can limit which components are allowed to have references. You can also have a dedicated component just for references, so that other components only need one reference instead of many. You can also use a messaging or event system. That way, certain components talk to each other, without even knowing to who they talk to. All this cross-script communication will be for another video. If there is one thing that you should remember, it's to make small classes. This video misses some real coding example, I agree with you, but that's okay. We had to cover the topic first, because next time I'm doing some tutorials, I'm not going to dump it down for the sake of the tutorial. We are going to create as many classes as necessary following this pattern. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what kind of coding issues you are facing. I'm curious and I would love to help you out. In the meantime, go work on your game and I will see you next time.